We have gotten the full list of games for the TurboGrafx Mini. And I am excited. Let me move this over here so that I can actually see it and I can read how excited I am. They have released a full list of games for the TurboGrafx Mini. It is going to be releasing March 19th, 2020. So we should be able to see it perfectly. And they have released, I love Photoshop. I'm cheating, and I'm using when I talked about this the first time, this is the same picture. So they released a full list. There are 24 US games and 26 Japanese games. There doesn't seem to be any overlap. I'm not noticing. There's maybe a couple of them. I think there's about 3 or 4. Later, Cassidy, have a good one. Thank you for stopping in. Is it better than the PS1 Classic? Shadow, you see this? This little card here? It's like a laminated card. It came with Beth's Pac-Man themed makeup kit. This little card right here is better than the PlayStation 1 Classic. Sorry, PlayStation 1 Classic, but it's true. But yes, it is miles better. And this is not even assuming that we can add a bunch of games to it. Mechadom is asking a real question. Oh, I saw that, Mechadom. We're going to get to the list. So, like I said, it's going to be March 19th, 2020. We've got 24 U.S. games. The U.S. games, I'm going to read this list here. For some damn reason, they never put these games in alphabetical order, and it drives me up a freaking wall. Alien Crush. Very good pinball game. Victory Run. It's Rad Racer. Blazing Lasers. Newtopia, which is effectively just Zelda. Dungeon Explorer, which is Gauntlet. R-Type 1. Fantastic version of R-Type. I'm a big R-Type fan. Moto Rotor, which I'm not actually familiar with. Power Golf, which I have and I'm almost positive I've never played. I'm going to skip some of my favorite ones here. And then we'll come back to them. Ninja Spirit, which is a very, very good game. It's a dirt cheap TurboGrafx game, but it's very good. JJ and Jeff, which is pretty uncommon. Space Harrier, yes to R-Type. Military Madness and Nectaris. It's so weird that they listed as Military Madness. The game's called Nectaris. It's called Nectaris Military. Actually, no, I think the first one was actually called Military Madness. So I feel like an idiot. I have it in my games. I'm not going to look at it. Chu Man Fu. We're going to shoot right past that one. Psychosis. Bonk's Revenge. This is interesting. I know what you're going to ask, so we'll get to this. Bonk's Revenge is the second game. Parasol Stars. Parasol Stars alone, it makes this pretty awesome because Parasol Stars is a good game. Kadash. New Adventure Island. Air Zonk. Air Zonk is worth the price of admission alone. So that's the thing about some of these games. If you go out and go on eBay and look at the sold listing for some of these games are worth more than this thing is going to be. Air Zonk I know is I think a I think is a plus $100 game. Soldier Blade is a plus $100 game. Newtopia 2 I believe is a plus $100 game. Lords of Thunder. I'm sorry, Bomberman 93 is a fantastic game. You've also got Lords of Thunder and Ys Book 1 and 2. These are CD games. Those two, and I don't think any of the other ones are. These are CD games. So this is already very interesting as a Soldier Blade soundtrack. It's ridiculously epic. Parasol Stars, almost a must-buy for that alone. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Some of these games are must-buys on their own. And then when you think about all of this other stuff, it's freaking amazing. And we're only halfway done. We haven't even gotten to the Japanese games. But already this is an amazing list. Again, not even assuming that you're going to be able to add more games. Now, there are also 26 PC Engine games, which is the Japanese TurboGrafx. There is a little bit of overlap here. But very, very little. There are also a few extremely interesting choices on here. The Kung Fu. The Kung Fu I'm not familiar with. Let me actually look that up. I don't know if that is Chu Man Fu just in Japanese form, Let's see here. The Kung Fu. Oh no, this was China Warrior. We got this in the US. We got this as a game called China Warrior. Jasaken Necromancer. That is another one. I could have sworn I looked at it. I think that's an original game. I think Jasaken Necromancer is an original game. Fantasy Zone, Japanese Fantasy Zone. I believe we did get the American one. Appare Gate Ball. I am not familiar with that game. Nectaris. Nectaris is Military Madness, so I don't know if there is a difference between these two games. Soldier Blade. Oh, look at that. Oh, flying those planes. Look at that Soldier Blade. I don't actually know how that song goes. I just know he says Soldier Boy a couple of times in the song. Dungeon Explorer is on here again, Japanese version. I'm wondering if some of the more text-heavy games, maybe they're keeping in Japanese and in US. I don't know. Maybe that has to do with why they're doing that. Because Newtopia is also on here. And that is a double up. But I wonder if because they're so text-heavy, they want to keep the Japanese and the US versions of the games. PC Genjin. That is Bonk 1. That is the first Bonk's Adventure. So Bonk's Adventure and Bonk's Adventure 2, Bonk's Revenge, are on this. It's weird that they introduced the Japanese Bonk 1, but the US Bonk 2. I find that very interesting. Because that was not a text-heavy game either. Again, Ys Book 1 and 2, text-heavy game. These are RPGs. Super Darius. I'm very excited for Super Darius. I love the Darius series, so I'm really excited to have Super Darius on here. Super Star Soldier was a great version of the game, so that's actually on there too. Daimakai Mora. I know I'm butchering that. That is Ghouls and Ghosts, which is a very special game. Along with this next one, Aldinus. Those two games were TurboGrafx exclusive games. I believe the Ghouls and Ghosts version is the TurboGrafx version of the game, and Aldinus was a TurboGrafx version exclusive also. The TurboGrafx was a system that came out that also played PC Engine games, but got 5 specific games just for it. It was the Ghouls and Ghosts, Aldinus, 1941. It's another version of 1941. X and Shadow rating with a party of 10. Welcome everybody to the stream. We are talking about the TurboGrafx Mini. It's gonna drive me crazy. Hold on. I tried to remember them. Hold on. 1941 Counterattack, Aldinus, Battle Ace, Ghouls and Ghosts, and Motto King Grandzord. These are 5 games that were TurboGrafx exclusive. They were they were much more technical. Yes, they were a lot better versions of those games. Newtopia 2, again, RPG text heavy. I'm extremely excited. Gradius and Salamander are going to be on this thing. Gradius is Gradius for everybody that knows. Salamander actually came out in the US as Life Force. So if you remember there being a lot of similarities between those two kinds of games.
Your ideas are intriguing to me.
That is Life Force. So I love both of those series. Super Momotaru Dentetsu, I think they spelled that wrong. 2. I am unfamiliar with that series. Ninja Ryu Kenden is the Japanese version of Ninja Gaiden. Very good game. Very good game. Star Parodier. I absolutely love shooters, and Star Parodier has a very, very, very positive place in my heart. I really love Star Parodier. Snatcher. Snatcher is going to be on here. I know that it has already been mentioned before. Snatcher is going to be on this thing. It is not going to be translated for US. Snatcher is a very text-heavy game that it is coming on this system. It's going to be Japanese only. That is a big disappointment. Sonic Link, by the way, thank you so much for the follow. Very much appreciated. Sorry, I was my heart was in Gradius and Salamander when it happened. Yes, the Snatcher version is going to be the Japanese version, so I don't believe there's going to be any translation. I already got an English translation though, and Elements, you know, they're going to be putting the English translation on this thing, because you know that's what they're going to do. They're going to add a patch that you upload. Another one that I am excited about, Gradius 2, Gopher no Yabo, never came out in the US, so I'm very excited. Actually, I don't know if it came out on the Gradius collection, but I'm very excited to have that on there. Ginga Fuke Densetsu Sapphire, I believe is a shooter game. I'm not too familiar with it. Bomberman 94 and Bomberman Panic. Very interesting choices. I like Bomberman. We're down to the last two. Games. Akumajo Dracula X Chino Rondo. Rondo of Blood is going to be on this thing. Wow. I honestly, with the release of the Castlevania Requiem, I think it was what it was called. Is that 3 shooters? Let's play. No, there's a lot of shooters on here. There's actually several shooters. This is going to be on there. So, again, worth the price of admission. And one last one. And I urge you, after this stream, I want you right now, I want you to write this down. And then I want you, after the stream, I want you to go to YouTube and I want you to watch some videos for this game. It's called Cho Aniki. I'm even gonna write it down. I'm gonna write it in the chat. Cho Aniki is this bizarre shooter with like bodybuilder character models. It is insane. Go and look at this game. It is off the wall. Yeah, but that is the 50 games, and they have said that is the full list. I am crazy excited for this thing. I don't know how much it's going to be. I'm hearing something about $100. It's going to come with 2 controllers, which I find very odd because the system was actually a 5-player system. The original system came with 1 controller port, but they also sold a multi-tap, the Turbo Tap, which allowed for 5 controllers, which was for Bomberman and stuff. So it is going to come with 2 controllers. Experiment is correct. This is an Amazon exclusive, so get your Amazon orders in fast. Whether or not it's going to be limited, I don't know. But Airzonk, Newtopia 2, Soldier Blade, Lords of Thunder, Rondo of Blood, Snatcher, if you're comfortable with the Japanese version. Any of those games alone would cost you over $100 or damn close to it. This thing is jam-packed with value. It's a lot of the same way when the SNES Classic came out and people were talking about how, it's 20-something games, 21 games. A lot of those games individually, you would have to pay what the SNES Classic costs in order to get a copy of those games. So it's wild. It's wild how great this thing is going to be. It is a fantastic entry point. Wait, is Rondo of Blood in the US version of the Mini? Yes. Sally, all of these games that I mentioned are that's something that I didn't specify. I don't know if anybody knew this or not. All of these games, the 24 US games and the 26 Japanese games, which yes, does include Rondo of Blood, they are going to be the same games on every system. If you buy the Japanese PC engine, it's going to have these 50 games. If you buy the US TurboGrafx, 50 games. European core graphics, 50 games. This is the exact list for all games across all 3 systems. Granted, with flash card and some blank CDs, you get the entire. Well, yeah, experiment. That's true too. Yeah, and experiment. That's what we always say with these classic systems now. If you are somebody who has a direct avenue to downloading these games, to burning these games, if you don't mind playing them on your computer, or you've got some sort of solution to play them on your TV, this is definitely not for you. This is for people like me who. I like to have these little systems. I like to be able to play them with modern amenities like save states and such. And I like to be able to play them on my TV. You know, if I emulate stuff, I have to play it on my computer. I like to be able to play it on my TV. Oh, my Joy-Cons are starting to drift. I saw was it the hard drive, the new, they're like the new Onion, they posted the fake article of like I think it's supposed to be like Doug Bowser comes on stage but slowly walks off the left side while talking about Joy-Con drift or something, and it just, the way they worded it made me laugh. A big experiment really hasn't figured out. Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, they're gonna hack this. They're gonna open it up and they're gonna put all the other games on there. And that's the great thing. The library of TurboGrafx at least, is not super gigantic. The Japanese Hue cards, I don't know, PC Engine library I think was much larger. But the US games I think numbered somewhere close to 100. I want to say 87, and I'm pretty sure it was more than that. So theoretically, you could get every turbo chip game on here, and most of the CD games. I don't remember how many CD games were released. I am very excited for this thing. I hope that everybody runs out and picks one up, or orders one. I guess you can't really run out and pick one up. And I hope to see everybody enjoying what was a fantastic system. Fantastic graphics, great gameplay, average controller. I believe the first OEM controller with a turbo button on it. The official TurboGrafx controllers had turbo buttons on them, and I believe they were the first party controllers to ever have that. If it's like any other mini console, it would be a cheap ARM SoC with a Linux kernel. Yeah, it'll take a few hours to crack, if even that. Yeah, I expect it to be cracked before mine shows up in the mail. I keep thinking a car shaped like Joy-Con. Yeah, my Joy-Cons are drifting. Deja vu. I just been in this place before, slightly to the left. So yeah, TurboGrafx Mini, PC Engine Mini. Let me know which version you want to get. I love the TurboGrafx, but I'm kind of partial to the PC Engine. But I have a core graphics, so I would love to have a mini core graphics to go with my regular core graphics. Whoever doesn't have the Joy-Con drift by now, yeah, if you've got a day one system and your Joy-Con aren't drifting, you should probably enter the lottery. I might get the Japanese version. Yeah, I don't know which one I want. The problem is I would have to order it from another region. I think in the US, Amazon only has the US version, so I would have to. I mean, Elements. What I could always do is buy the US version, and then we can ship each other our versions. And you get a TurboGrafx, I get a core graphics. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I think I want a core graphics. If I had the choice, I think I would want a core graphics. But we are moving on. That picture is way too small for anybody to see it. But Marvel has released. Let me open this up here. Open it up. Yeah, move it over there. Marvel has released. I got my Turbo Duo. You're killing me here. Marvel has released their information on their Phase 4 stuff. I've got a little chart here. That's what this little chart is here. Unfortunately, it is not very visible, and for some reason, I am now starting to lag. It looks like my camera is lagging a little bit. Doesn't seem to have dropped any frames. Please tell me if my audio is lagging or anything like that. It just looked like I had a little bit of lag. I just moved stuff around. I got my dual screens on, and my dual screens, I don't know how the system tolerates dual screens. Jane Foster Thor hate. AR, that's probably a whole different topic here. So the timeline of Marvel Phase 4 has been released, and let me just go over it. I'm going to go over it first. We will gauge. I will gauge this overall. Black Widow. These all have, some of them have dates on them. Black Widow is going to be, it looks like a movie. It looks like they have labeled movies against TV shows. Anything that is labeled Disney Plus here, I'm assuming is going to be the TV show. Black Widow movie, May 1st, 2020. Fall 2020, Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to be a Disney Plus show. Actually, you know what? We'll go by the movies first. Black Widow, Eternals, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Finally, I'm excited about one of them. And Thor, Love and Thunder. Those are the movies. Black Widow, I'm not entirely sure what they're going to do with this movie. I don't know what the time frame for the movie is going to be. If you really want to get me excited about a Black Widow project, for the love of God, tell me what the hell happened in Budapest. That's what I want to know. That's what everybody wants to know. Everybody wants a Black Widow Hawkeye movie. Tell us what the hell happened in Budapest that was so interesting. Is it Pest or is it Pest? I don't know. Eternals. I am not familiar with the Eternals at all. I don't know what they are all about. If they are Marvel Cosmic, that is more interesting to me. That Marvel Cosmic is way more interesting to me. We have discussed that before. I think when you go to something as large scale as the Infinity Gauntlet, you have trouble. I have trouble caring when you talk about street thugs. You know, when Spider-Man. That's why I haven't seen a Spider-Man movie. I'm having trouble caring about Spider-Man beating up a bunch of bad guys on the streets of London when we just had everything that happened in Infinity War. Externals is Cosmic Marvel. Externals or Eternals? I read the Eternals comics, so I'm very much down for that. Budapest is what everybody thinks it's about. That's what I want it to be about. I wonder if they're going to have a new Black Widow. That'd be interesting. Eternals, yeah. So Eternals is Cosmic, so I'm more interested in that. I don't know jack about Shang-Chi. I want to imagine, and I hope this doesn't seem insensitive, I want to imagine that it has something to do with Iron Fist just because of the martial arts nature of Iron Fist, so I assume that's what it's about. I'm just not really sure. Thor, Love and Thunder. I'm actually not happy about this one. I'm not happy about this, and the reason I'm not happy about this is because Thor left at the end of Endgame. Sorry, spoilers. It's been long enough. I think Shang-Chi makes clones. Okay. Thor left with the Guardians of the Galaxy at the end of Endgame. Thor's next appearance should have been in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I think that would have been more interesting. Then you have Thor doing something else out in space, and then that transitions into Thor 4. The fact that Thor 4 is coming first, I think doesn't make any sense. I don't like that it's situated there, because that means that either Thor 4 is going to include Guardians of the Galaxy, which is nonsense because the Guardians of the Galaxy are their own franchise, so they're going to get a bit part, or it's going to be after he leaves the Guardians of the Galaxy, which means we're not going to get that story, or we're going to get it out of order. I don't like that. I think that the next movie should have been Guardians 3 with Thor in it. They do everything. Thor leaves, we get Thor 4. I think that's the way it should be, and I don't like the fact that the next Thor project we're getting is Thor 4. Yeah, we're supposed to be getting the real Mandarin, so I don't know if that has to do with the 10 Rings, because the organization is called the 10 Rings. If you saw the Marvel one shot with the fake Mandarin, turns out that the organization that is after him is called the 10 Rings. The 10 Rings are also the terrorist group that kidnapped Tony in the very first Iron Man movie. So this exists. It exists somewhere. Yes, and Thor 4 is supposed to be bringing Jane Fonda. I think you mean Jane Foster. I mean, if Jane Fonda is gonna be Thor, yikes. Well, technically it's just Thor. Thor is the mantle of Thor. See, that's the thing. I have a whole big conflict with this, and I'm going to get into it now before we even talk about some of the other stuff. People don't like that they're calling it female Thor. They're saying it's just Thor because Thor is the mantle of the character, which is not true, because before he wielded the hammer, as a child, his name was Thor. Thor is the character's name, and we know that because in the MCU, he was Thor as a kid. That is his name. Yes, maybe the comics do it differently, but I feel like we've gone far enough away from the comics that we can identify them as their separate things. There is the MCU, and then there is the comic world. Stop using the comics to justify certain things because they don't exist. They're not the same thing. So female Thor kind of makes sense. At the same time, I wonder if they're just going to give her a different name. I like Goddess of Lightning, Jane Thunder. I like Jane Thunder. Yeah, it's just a different way to differentiate Chris Hemsworth from Natalie Portman. So we know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't mind that, and I know people are in an uproar. Some people are pissed off because people get pissed off about everything, about the fact that they're calling it female Thor. And it's like, no, it's just Thor. Like, no, it's not just Thor. Because we have a character whose name is Thor. Yes, on the hammer, when Odin enchants Mjolnir, he recites, what is it? Whosoever holds his hammer, if he be worthy, shall wield the powers of Thor. So Thor is like the mantle. Thor is the name of, it's like if there was a female who was from Krypton, you don't call her female Superman. What the hell is her name? I hate saying Supergirl. I forget her name. Kara Zor-El, I think was her name. Somebody can correct me on that. Supergirl. She's not female Superman. She's Supergirl. She has her own identity. Because if Superman died and passed his powers on to somebody else, they would be Superman. One thing that I don't like is people who are saying Falcon with the shield. Like, is Falcon with the Captain America shield, or is he the new Captain America? See, I would have a problem if you started saying something like, and please forgive me if this sounds insensitive, if people started saying Black Captain America. I would have a problem with that. He's not Black Captain America, he's Captain America. The original Captain America passed that power, that mantle down to him. You don't say, you don't call them different men. When one passes the mantle to the next one, that new person is Ant-Man. Because that is the name of the superhero, not the name of the person that played it. Thor in the MCU is the name of the person. So it just saying female Thor just works because you need to differentiate the characters. I do like Goddess of Lightning. It's like calling Miles Morales Black Spider-Man. Like, it doesn't make any sense. He's Spider-Man. In that particular universe, the original Spider-Man has passed that name on to the next person. He is Spider-Man. Also, Thor has also buggered off with Stormbringer. Or is it Stormbringer or Stormbreaker? And with all this time for Mjolnir still exists. Yeah. Yeah, so Jane should get Mjolnir. Jane should have Mjolnir. I think that's the way it should be. I also have a problem with the fact that we're going to have to see something pretty spectacular for Jane Foster to be worthy to wield Mjolnir. Because if you tell me that she's going to be able to wield it, and I question whether or not Captain America was able to wield it in the second Avengers. Remember when he tried to pick it up and he wasn't able to pick it up? I wonder if he was faking it or what. There is a black suit. Are you talking about Steel? Shadow? Are you talking about Steel? She's Stormbringer or Stormbreaker. I don't know. The axe, I don't know what it's bloody called. I don't know if that got erased. No, Elements. That happened. The one thing that they tried to specify in Endgame was that everything that happened before happened. But they have been able to shift the timeline. It's a little weird that he brought Mjolnir back, but whatever. Well, no. Elements. He took Mjolnir at the end of the movie to return along with the stone. So he took it back. Because he didn't come back with it. So he put Mjolnir back where it was supposed to be, which corrected the timeline. So that's okay. Yeah, Cap took the hammer with him when at the end of Endgame. So that fixed the timeline. So that's okay. So technically Mjolnir should be broken. Yeah, that's right. So Mjolnir should be broken. So I'm wondering what Jane Foster is going to wield. We'll see what happens. Maybe that's the whole big deal. Maybe that's what changes. I don't know. But that's Thor. Unless he forges a new one. Yeah, I have no idea. That is... Oh, and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. We should probably talk about that at a separate time because that opens up a whole new world of things. The Disney Plus shows are Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, Loki, Hawkeye, and What If, which is probably the one that I'm more interested in. What's Disney Plus? Disney Plus is going to be Disney's streaming service that is going to start, I want to say in December, maybe a little bit sooner. That is going to be their own streaming service, which I am not going to get because I don't want any more services. So I'm going to miss all of these shows. I don't really care about talking about any of these shows in particular for one important reason. With the exception of What If, and I still do this with What If, but What If is the least guilty. These are all the hardest shrugs from me. When all of this was coming out in Hall H and Twitter was being updated with all of these things, they said Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I went, Eternals, Shang-Chi, WandaVision, Loki, Hawkeye, What If? I was striking hard shrugs. Like, you know that workout when you hold weights and you do this and you just shrug your shoulders? You could have put 1,000 pounds in each of my hands. And like you could have put like 100 pounds in my hands and said Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I would have shrugged it. And then you could have increased it every time. You could have said WandaVision and put 1,000 pounds in each hand, and I don't care. I don't care about any of these characters, not to this extent. Not to see them have their own show. I don't care. The one that I'm most interested in, or the least not interested in, is What If. Because I want to see what they do. I want to see some of the stuff that they put together. I want to see some of the comic stories that they're going to use to tell us these goofy stories. And it's interesting to me. Because they're going to be one-offs. I honestly think What If is going to be an anthology type show. where every episode is not related to every episode before, and what we're going to see every time is a fantasy world. That sounds awesome to me. I think that sounds great. Everything else, I'm sorry, I'm just so burned out on Marvel. I would like What If to be Marvel Twilight Zone. Well, Lilac, that's what an anthology show is. An anthology show, if you go to Netflix and watch Black Mirror, anthology shows are these shows where every episode is different. It's got a whole different premise. There's a whole different cast, and the idea is that each one is an individual story. It is episode length, but each one's an individual story. That's what Twilight Zone was. That was a anthology show. That's what If should be. That's it. If they try and make it into a consistent show where it's all one big story, I don't like it. I already don't like it. I like the idea of every week you can tune in once a week, and you can see a different version of Marvel existing with different characters in a different style. I like that. I think that that's more interesting. Everything else, yeah, I seriously just said that though. Yes, I'm not paying attention to chat as much as I should be. Other than that, I'm interested in Doctor Strange in the multiverse of madness, only because introducing the ideas of multiverses gives you the opportunity to bring in a lot of characters. It's very easy to pull a character from another universe and just say they were in that other universe and now they're here. I'm at least seeing Eternals and Thor, maybe Shang, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm not very, very excited to see any of this stuff. I honestly think the most interesting announcements are not even on this. They're not even Phase 4 stuff, which is the Blade show featuring Mahershala Ali. I know I annihilated that name, and I apologize for that. Ali, right? Mahershala Ali. Wow, I was pretty close. Mahershala Ali. Blade is going to be a TV show. Mahershala Ali is going to play Blade, and it's going to be a new show. Cottonmouth is back. I'm interested. I would like to see more about that. The other announcement that they made was that we knew it was coming, but we didn't know. See, Marvel reacquired two major properties, and I didn't know which one they were going to utilize first. And now we know. Fantastic Four is going to be joining the Marvel universe at some point, the MCU. It looks like the Fantastic Four is going to be the first property, and then I'm assuming X-Men is going to come later. I am extremely excited to see what the Fantastic Four brings. One of the biggest things that people have been talking about is what is next for the MCU. What is going to be the big story arc? Who is going to be the big villain? Please use the Fantastic Four to introduce Doctor Doom and tell me that Doctor Doom is going to be the next major villain. That the next several arcs of whatever the MCU is going to be has to do with Doctor Doom doing something. I don't care. I would love to have him in this. One of the in the very first Secret Wars, Galactus was in the first Secret Wars. DB Stewart, we are on the same freaking page. In the very first Secret Wars, Galactus was there with it was a whole cavalcade. You read the first Secret Wars. The first Secret Wars is actually really good. The one from like 86 or 87. There's a big story arc where Doctor Doom is off doing his own thing, and then Galactus, what Galactus does in spoilers for the first Secret Wars, Galactus builds this machine, and he's going to try and convert the planet that they're on into energy so that he could feed, because that's what Galactus does. when it doesn't work, he converts the machine into energy, into solid energy. Doctor Doom does something, and he absorbs that energy. He basically steals it from Galactus, and he uses it to blast Galactus away. And then Doctor Doom has this incalculable amount of power to him. If this all builds up to the Secret Wars, to some version of the Secret Wars, having Doctor Doom as the primary villain for this next giant arc of stories, I think would make people extremely excited. I think it would work fantastically. Yeah, not Galactus as a cloud like in the Fantastic Four movie. Stupid. Yeah, AR, I'm kind of there with you. I'm a little butthurt about that myself. I want to see what Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange just polite doctor. Elements. I love the Galactus character. I'm very much a fan of that character, so I would like to see Galactus back, or Galactus make a real entry. And this is easy to do. This is the thing. The Fantastic Four is an easy way to introduce all of this, because from their origins, the Fantastic Four were space-based. Yes, they took place on Earth, but the origin of the Fantastic Four is that they were doing research in outer space and got hit with cosmic radiation. Their whole origin is about space. So they work very easily into the MCU in its current state. You've got the return of everybody after the snap. You've got tons of new technology present. It is easy to say that with this new technology and with the idea, the understanding that there is a lot more space out there, that a group of people are going to try and build a ship, and they're going to try and research that space, and they're going to get hit with cosmic radiation. They're going to be the Fantastic Four. It all fits perfectly. This is a fantastic time to introduce the Fantastic Four. I want to see Dr. Doom deal with the political climate. Yeah, Hawk Goggles. Let's just get a 2-hour political roundtable. That is the most exciting possibility for the MCU, and it was at the end of their presentation that they announced it. Boo, 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 you suck. So yeah, MCU Phase 4. Hardest shrugs you can get from me, but the quality has been consistent. Marvel, if nothing else, has been extremely consistent over the last 10 years with the quality of their movies. So I suspect that even the worst of these movies is going to be entertaining. The TV shows, like I said, the What If could be interesting if you do it as an anthology show. I want Falcon and the Winter Soldier as a more of a comedy. I want a lot more comedy out of the Falcon and Winter Soldier. Not a straight up sitcom, but I want a lot more comedy out of the Falcon and Winter Soldier. WandaVision, I just don't care about. Loki, I have no idea where they're going to go. That Dr. Juice, that was a shrug to rival Atlas. Oh yeah, and Captain Marvel 2 and Black Panther 2 got confirmed. Like, they just sort of threw that stuff in there. Talk about how DC is DB. We already know. Unless the DC needs to sit down and think really hard and do a gigantic reboot. And until they do that, they're out of it. Falcon. I don't care about, and yeah, I don't care about anything from the streaming service because I'm not going to watch it. The biggest problem with that is when you cut out something from Marvel. Marvel has such a massive interconnectivity that I don't want to end up watching one of these movies and be completely lost because I didn't watch the Falcon and Winter Soldier. You know, I don't want that to happen, but you know, I just don't care. Okay. One last topic change. is the viewer topics. I know it's a weird place to have the viewer topics, but we are there. Here we are at the viewer topics portion of the show. If you have anything specific that you would like to bring up, feel free to do so right now. With recent allegation with Blythes, I don't know who that is. What do you feel about separating the work from someone? Shadow, we talked about this before. The idea of separating art from the artist. It's nice to think that you can. It's difficult. If I think it's easier for me to separate art from the artist when there are multiple people talking on this project. I don't like the idea of cutting out a TV show because one person is a jerk. But it's not easy, and it may not always be fair. We should never forget what the artist does as far as being bad, but in some cases, I think it would be more unfair to the other people who work on a project to cut that project out completely, if that makes any sense. I think DC should drop out of the movie side for now, focus on TV. What I think DC should do is create a cinematic universe for animation, and I think that they would conquer that because DC animated universe is phenomenal, and I think that if they reboot that animation universe and turn it into theatrical releases, I think they would make a killing. Crisis on Infinite Earth should have been Endgame level movie. Yeah, you could have built up to something like that. Definitely replace Flash and Batman, though. I heard the TV Flash was actually doing really well. I was watching Cosby Show yesterday. I didn't enjoy it. It's hard to separate art from the artist. We can talk about a survey that was published recently that shows how gaming has a positive effect on romantic relationships. I did not read that survey. I would want to read that before I talked about that. That's an interesting take. Aqua, if you can link me that on Twitter, that would actually be very helpful. I would appreciate that. I just downloaded Final Fantasy 7 on the Switch. Did the background seem blurry to you? A lot more blurry? No, I didn't have a problem with the background. I thought everything was okay. Somebody mentioned Doom 1, 2, and 3. Doom 1, 2, and 3 was just like shadow dropped on the Switch today. And as of, July 26th. Very, very interesting that they got shadow dropped just so randomly. It is Doom 1, Doom 2, and Doom 3. Doom 1 and Doom 2 are $4.99 each. Doom 3 is $9.99. Thank you for pricing them as if they are 20-year-old games that we have had on multiple systems, because they are 20-year-old games that we have had on multiple systems. Stop releasing retro games that are 20 years old and charging $20 and $30 and $40 for them. If you did a whole bunch of stuff to them, okay, I get it. These are straight up re-releases. They should be that much money. That's a good price for them. I do have a problem with the fact that you have to have a Bethesda.net account. That's always kind of obnoxious. That is an annoying little thing to do. That being said, for the price, make an account. I'm sure the account is free. You play the game. But yeah, I don't like the fact that you have to do that. Elements brought up something the other day that I wanted to talk about today, so thank you for bringing it up again, Elements. Why, and I don't even know that I have an answer for this. This is more of just, I kind of want to bring this up and have you contemplate it yourselves. Why do we go crazy for retro style graphics like Super Nintendo? Oh my god, it looks just like a Super Nintendo game. It's fantastic. It's pixel art. It's amazing. Except for 3D graphics. Why is it good to say this looks just like a Super Nintendo game? This looks just like a Genesis game. But it's bad to say, ew, this looks just like a PlayStation 1 game. I wonder why there is a separation. Obviously, if you have to separate the graphical problems. PlayStation 1 graphics without the pop-in, without the pop-out, without the glitching, without stuff like that, That's what we're talking about here. If it plays like a PlayStation 1 game in that the graphics keep glitching out on you, that's a crappy game. That's a bad game. I don't care how much you try and tell me that, oh, it's trying to be authentic. That's BS. But old school polygons, maybe some sharp edges. Why do people look at that like it's a negative, but you look at Super Nintendo graphics like it's a positive? I just find that very interesting. Like I said, I don't know that I actually have an answer for any of this. I just thought it was an interesting topic. I thought it was a very fascinating sort of double standard that we play with those two kinds of graphics. Question: how do I send you a link on Twitter? Aqua, you just go to a web page and then you can share the web page and then you just tag me in the link. Like, you can share the web page to Twitter and tag me in the link, and that'll be fine. In the tweet, I mean. Even in the 90s, most polygon-based games like that. Yeah, I don't know though. But we accepted it, and I think that's the thing. I think we accepted it back then, because it was what it was at the time. With news about, like I said, I really don't have an answer for that. I just wanted to bring it up. With the news about Nintendo repairing Joy-Cons, do you plan on sending them your Joy-Cons or not? Neon Mole, yeah, I plan on doing it. I just have to actually sit down and do it. I think it has something to do with whether or not the game tries to be, maybe Neon Mole. I don't know. I think I may have to explore that topic a little bit more. Elements mentioned it the other day, and it was very fascinating to me. Probably because 3D was in its infancy, so they don't look amazing. But there are some really artistic PS1 games. But Elements, when you look at something like Metal Gear Solid was phenomenal for its time. But if you release a game like that right now, people would still say it looks like a PS1 game. And they would say that with a negative tone. I just find that very interesting. Because early 3D doesn't hold up well. I don't know. I guess. I don't know. I think it has some nostalgia. Super Fighting Robot. Mega Man. Sorry, Rocky Bear said Super Fighting Robot, so I kind of have to say Mega Man. Yeah, I found it to be very weird. And I wanted to bring that up. But unless anybody has any other topics, I'll give everybody a second if they wanna throw some topics in there. I've heard people say that about chibi style of Dragon Quest builders, and I think it adds a lot more charm. NOA customer service has always been excellent. I'd get on that quickly. I know I'm sending them my Joy-Con. Yeah, I have both of my Joy-Cons that need fixing. They both have drift. I'm a massive PS1 sales, so I'm probably not the best to discuss the negative side of it. Remember when Parasite Eve came out, and I thought it looked... Yeah, Parasite Eve was a fantastic example. We thought that game looked amazing when it came out. And now if you made a game that looked exactly like it, people would chide it for that. Chide it? I think that's right. How can I convince this spider to stop its flying on my notepad? Kill. It's time for murder, death, kill. Topic: Decepticons or Autobots? Autobots because they're the good guys and they have positive things to do. Decepticons for the robot design because they're more varied in how they look and they tend to look cooler. I think jets are cooler than cars. Oh, excuse me. Thoughts on people dismissing clone games as having no substance. I can't say I don't disagree with that. Clone games, if it's too much of a clone game, yeah, it doesn't have its own heart. It's just copying something else, and it's not. That's like trying to tell people that you're an artist because you know how to trace. You know how to put the tracing paper down and trace what somebody else did. It's not innovative. It's not groundbreaking. It doesn't need to be groundbreaking, but it needs to feel some kind of original. And clone games are not. For the most part, they're not. Deceptive Chaz representing. All right, that is going to do it for today. We are going to call that right here. So let me turn off the topics there. On the other hand, there are a few clone games that do try to do something a little bit different. Yeah, it's elements. If there's enough of a difference to it, I can see that being adding something to the original recipe. The problem is that a lot of clone games don't add to the recipe. They think they do because they add a simple mechanic, or they they double up on a mechanic. You know, oh well, this game had a mechanic where you do these 2 things. Well, this clone game has 3 of those things. That's not original. That's not yes, it's different, but it's not really adding something. But we are gonna call it for today. Thank you for that, Aqua Sakura. Thank you, everyone out there, for joining us for a very varied discussion today. I think that we hit a lot of interesting topics. Thoughts on hypocritical? We'll have to go into that another time. Thank you also to Good King Linky. Thank you, Lilac, for the 25 bits. What was that game's name again? Which game? I don't know. Yeah, tell me which game you're asking about. But yes, thank you, Good King Linky, for stopping in and helping us to discuss the GameStop topic. Linky works at GameStop, so he had some extra insights there for me. I'm sure you can find his name somewhere, and go be sure to follow him, check him out. Oh, Chio Aniki. Yes, after the stream, go and do a search for the game Cho Aniki. Do a search for this game and watch a bit of a playthrough of it, and I assure you that you're going to sit there and think, what the hell am I looking at? And you're going to do that in the best possible way. But for right now, I'm going to say thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. Spend this weekend playing some fun games. Enjoy yourself. We are halfway through the summer, so if you go back to school at any point, you are going to have to, you got a month left, so enjoy some gaming. If you're watching right now live and you have not clicked follow, go ahead and click follow. And if you've got a Twitch Prime sub, feel free to use that here also. Also, check the links down below to follow me over on Twitter and YouTube. Twitter is where I post any kind of updates and a bunch of fun, silly stuff. YouTube is where I post these VODs. So if you missed anything, you can go back to YouTube and watch it there, or you can watch it in the VOD here. If you're watching this on YouTube, also check the links down below. Follow me over on Twitter and on Twitch. We do the show live every Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern. And also go ahead and click follow or subscribe. I think it's called subscribe on YouTube. And do that. And thank you, everybody, for stopping in. Have a good weekend. Play some fun games. Be good to yourselves and to each other. Drink lots of water. And have a good one.